Welcome into Golden State Warriors. Today, I'm Chase Sr. with Chat Sports, and coming up on today's show, are the Warriors out on Victor Oladipo? Also, will the Dubs decide to trade Kelly Oubre Jr.? And we'll do a little injury roundup with the Warriors as the injury bug has hit this team of late. But first, before we get started, if you love the Warriors, do me a favor, give this video a like. The NBA trade deadline is less than a week away, and the Warriors figure to be active. And a name that they've been linked to, Victor Oladipo, shooting guard with the Houston Rockets. So this has been a rumor that has circulated over the last couple of weeks. Kevin O'Connor reported a couple weeks ago that the Warriors are they're interested, and they've contacted the Rockets about Oladipo's services. If Oladipo is traded, this would be his third team in a single season, which would be kind of crazy. But there's something that we have to monitor here because Houston's asking price, according to reports, is considered to be a little too steep for Golden State, so the Warriors might be out on Oladipo. But the Rockets don't have a ton of leverage here because Oladipo a couple weeks ago turned down a contract extension from the Rockets, and he is set to be a free agent after this year. So he's coming off a pretty severe injury that he suffered last year with the Indiana Pacers, and his numbers in terms of shooting percentage have been down, but points per game, rebounds, and assists, they've been there. Oladipo is still considered a pretty solid player, and when he was 100% healthy, you can make the argument he's probably a top 20, top 30 player in the NBA. The Warriors certainly need some scoring help outside of Steph Curry because Golden State is obviously without Klay Thompson. Victor Oladipo would be a playmaking upgrade over guys like Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre Jr. I mentioned this a few seconds ago. Here's what the problem is if you're the Houston Rockets. Why are you upping the trade value? Why are you trying to get too much back for Victor Oladipo when you don't have that much leverage? It is public notice right now that Oladipo turned down a contract extension with Houston, and he's not going to come back to Houston because they're one of the worst franchises in the league, and right now they are an absolute dumpster fire. So it's going to be interesting to see who the Rockets trade Oladipo to and what they get back for him when you talk about their lack of leverage because Oladipo turned down that contract extension. So this is your opportunity to hop on board and join the show. Get into the comment section, and I want you to rate your level of interest if you're a Golden State Warriors fan in Victor Oladipo, and I want you to scale it 1 to 10. Let's get to Kelly Oubre Jr. right now, and this is a player that the Warriors traded for this offseason back in November. And according to The Athletic, Oubre is a name to watch ahead of the NBA trade deadline, which is on March 25th, next Thursday. Oubre Jr., seen as a tradable, expiring contract. It's only at $14 million. On the open market, he could demand anywhere from 15 to 20. And this is a versatile two-way wing who can score, can make some plays, but if you ask me, he can do a better job of getting his teammates involved and being a little bit more creative with the basketball. He's kind of a one-way offensive player right now, but also a pretty solid defensive player as well. Kelly Oubre Jr. this year, numbers down from last year when he had a breakout season with the Suns, averaging a shade over 15 points per game. The field goal percentage is just okay, and he's right about league average shooting the ball from beyond the arc. So Kelly Oubre Jr., a name the Warriors could decide to move on from and trade if they want to bring in a guy like Victor Oladipo. Speaking of Oladipo and Kelly Oubre Jr., here's my next question for you. Would you trade Kelly Oubre Jr. for Victor Oladipo? Type Y for yes and type N for no. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say yes because I think Oladipo has more upside. Coming off that quad injury, that was a devastating injury for Victor Oladipo, but as I mentioned, when he is 100% healthy, he's no doubt an offensive upgrade over Kelly Oubre Jr., who I think is somewhat one-dimensional on that side of the floor. Here's another name to keep an eye on for the Golden State Warriors. It's Kevon Looney. He's a beloved figure in Golden State because he's been a member of some of the championship teams with the Splash Brothers when they went on that dynasty run a few years ago. Kevon Looney is really valued from other teams because he's looked at as a guy who could really provide some front court depth. He obviously has playoff and championship experience, and he's kind of a do-it-all front court option who can contribute both offensively and defensively as well. So Kevon Looney, a name that the Warriors might look to trade as well in order to get some assets back from a playmaking standpoint. So will the Warriors be active as we sit here on this Friday, less than a week away from the NBA trade deadline? According to reports, the Warriors will be one of the teams looking to add a top 20 player. And Bob Myers, the president of basketball operations for Golden State, has said in the past he's going to be aggressive. Why? He doesn't want to waste a Steph Curry MVP caliber year, and he understands that the window to win is somewhat short, and Steph Curry does need some help on this roster right now without Klay Thompson, as Draymond Green is having just a so-so year. And yeah, the Warriors, there's no doubt about it. They have holes and they need roster upgrades, and you look at that second unit, it's pretty lackluster defensively. They've been terrible at times. Steph Curry has called out that defensive unit multiple times this season. And when you look at the Western Conference standings, the Warriors have a lot of work to do. Utah Jazz in at first place. The Lakers are right on the Jazz's heels. And then you look at the back half of the Western Conference standings here. 10 teams are going to make it into the playoffs because there's that play-in tournament in order to get one of those final seeds. The Warriors are right there. But yeah, from 6 to 10, it's really close right now. The Warriors only back 3 games from the Portland Trail Blazers, only 1 game over 500. So this is a Warriors team that does need some roster upgrades. And speaking of that, this is important to note. The Warriors have been granted a designated player exception. They were awarded that after they had requested it because of the Klay Thompson injury. What this would allow the Warriors is they'd be able to absorb an expiring contract of about $9+ million or less. So when you look at that trade player exception, designated player exception, it could be useful in a trade or a buyout market. So if the Warriors are looking to make some roster upgrades, they could use that and bring in a veteran on the trade or buyout market for around $9 million or less. So we look at the Western Conference standings and we discuss the Warriors' current state. Should the Warriors buy or sell? Hop into the comment section. Type B if you want the Warriors to buy, or type S for sell. So I'm new here at Chat Sports. I'm about 3 weeks in. And if you want to talk some basketball, be sure to hit me up on Twitter. You can give me a follow at Chase_Senior. You send me a tweet and you want to talk some hoops, I guarantee you and promise you that I will reply back. So the injury bug has hit the Golden State Warriors of late coming out of the All-Star break, and that includes the Warriors star player Steph Curry. He is doubtful for the Warriors game against the Grizzlies on Friday night. Really weird injury. He attempted a 3 on the right wing, kind of backpedaled a little bit, thought that there was something behind him to brace him. He falls and suffers a spinal cord contusion. It's not believed to be a long-term injury, but Steph Curry will be out against the Memphis Grizzlies on Friday night. Didn't practice on Thursday. He's not going to be out for an extended period of time, and when these injuries have happened in the past to other players, it's not like they're out for a couple of weeks, but in the immediacy of the moment, Steph Curry will not play on Friday against the Golden State Warriors. Who else is going to be out? Against the Grizzlies, Kelly Oubre Jr., also doubtful against Memphis. He hurt his foot in that same game against the Rockets, and he tried to play through it, but it was just kind of nagging him a little bit too much. Tried to come back, and they said, Kelly Oubre, don't hurt this further. You're going to sit out. He did not practice on Thursday, in addition to Steph Curry. This injury also not believed to be serious, but Kelly Oubre Jr. will not play against Memphis. So in this game against the Grizzlies, it's going to be really difficult because without Steph Curry on the floor, the Warriors are putrid. Why? Well, Steph Curry, as we know, having an MVP caliber season, averaging just under 30 points per game. The Warriors have a offensive net rating of 112.7 when Curry is on the court. And check out the dip when Curry is off of it. That's why this guy is in the MVP discussion. That offensive rating dropping to 98.5 without Curry. Also some more injury and COVID-related issues going on with the Warriors. James Wiseman, Eric Paschall will also be out because of COVID protocols. There was some contact tracing stuff there, which will cause them to miss at least this game against Memphis on Friday, maybe future games as well. I want to move on to Jordan Poole because since getting called back up to the Warriors roster from the G League, Jordan Poole has been balling out. Check out his stats over the last 5 games. He's been getting a lot of minutes because of those aforementioned injuries, 22.5 per night in those 5 games. And Jordan Poole, the former first-round pick out of Michigan, averaging 19 points per game. Not really a creator with the basketball, but shooting 54% from the floor. So I think Jordan Poole has turned a lot of heads. He's caught the attention of Steph Curry and Steve Kerr. And Steve Kerr has mentioned, Jordan Poole is entering the discussion of possibly receiving more minutes. But I've posed this question before. Should Jordan Poole receive more minutes? I think the answer to that question has been proven to be yes, but I want to ask you and update this question. Is Jordan Poole a reliable role player? Because the second unit for this Warriors team, they haven't been able to rely on those secondary players because they've been so inconsistent. So is Jordan Poole a reliable role player? Type R for reliable, type U for unreliable. If you ask me, I've been really impressed with Jordan Poole. This is still a guy in his early 20s, former first-round pick coming out of Michigan. I think the Warriors drafted him because they really liked his scoring upside, and he's shown since he's gotten consistent minutes in those 5 games coming up from the G League, he can be a consistent scoring option. So I'm going to type R for reliable. So if you made it this far into this video on today's show, on the Warriors Today episode, that means that you like what you're seeing here at Chat Sports, you like what we're doing, but also you love the Golden State Warriors. So do me a favor, hit that big red button below and subscribe to Warriors Today. A few reasons for that. It's the best Warriors coverage out on YouTube, and we're pushing out 3, 4, sometimes 5 Warriors videos every week. And with the NBA trade deadline a little less than a week away, we're going to bring you all of the latest news and rumors around the Warriors as they figure to be busy. And check this out. This is a family. This is a squad on Warriors Today that continues to grow at a rapid rate. We're up to 14,500 subscribers. So join the family and hit that subscribe button down below.